Hello, true believers, and welcome to another edition of BK's Bullets. My name is not Brent Cassina. My name is Jim Afanis, and from time to time, I post content on this very channel to talk to you guys about comic book-related entertainment. And today, I'm going to be giving you guys my spoiler-free review of DC's Stargirl. Now, this is a spoiler-free review, and I'm going to be as general as I can. There may be some light spoilers, but probably not. I'm going to be pretty clear about what I'm talking about. And honestly, I think you're going to be able to figure out the tone of the show by watching it on your own. Do I recommend this? Let's start off there. Do I recommend this, yes or no? Yes, but only slightly over no. I will be watching if they do renew it, and if it does come back on CW, I will be checking it out. I think I would actually appreciate this show more if it was more serialized, like the DC run of like other shows like Arrow and Flash and Black Lightning that have a longer season to them. This felt incredibly rushed, and there was very limited development on any other character other than Stargirl. And the reason I keep saying Stargirl and I do my hands like that is because it's definitely her show. As a matter of fact, all of the ancillary characters in the show don't get much major character development moments. And there's some major moments that happen in each of these characters' lives that are very quickly glossed over. That is absolutely shocking to me that they don't deep dive into it. Like characters killing somebody for the first time. Characters finding out their parents who they thought that they were. Characters having midlife crises. Characters watching other characters die. Just to name a few things. And everybody else is just bright and bubbly and happy. And it's all about Stargirl. Which, she's a great character, and I think she definitely holds her own on the show. But the problem, I think, really with this show, outside of the fact that the ancillary characters really don't matter that much, is that the ultimate payoff isn't that great. One of the things that I have always argued on these superhero shows, when they have the big villain of the season, you typically have these smaller villains of the week that ultimately bubble into a major plot. Stargirl really doesn't have that. She's only fighting really against key members of this evil terrorist organization hell-bent on world domination. And it really is as cliche and as transparent as that. Unfortunately, because of that, typically she's only going head-to-head with these main villains. So a lot of the fight sequences are over very quickly because it's two very high-powered characters fighting. And typically, and this, I guess you could say it's a spoilers, I don't know. Typically, Stargirl and her team gets their ass kicked pretty much consistently. And it's kind of implied it's because they're the next generation, they're new, they're kids, they don't understand their powers, they're very basic in what they do. And it's kind of like a coming-of-age movie to watch them build up and rise up and try to fulfill the legacy of this awesome justice society that has fallen before she has kind of come into the picture. And she has a cast of supporting characters that do help her on her adventures, but primarily she'll be the one doing the talking, she'll be the one doing the major fighting, and she'll be the one kind of saving the day if the day needs to be saved. And that's really a big detriment to the supporting cast because while each of them get their hero moments, it's typically only a few seconds in an entire episode. Sometimes they're not even mentioned at all, and you kind of think, hey, what happened to them? And then they'll show up and they're like, oh, sorry, I couldn't help you on the adventure last week because I was doing homework. And they're like, oh, that's okay, come on back. And it's just like really weird that like even the writers seem to be self-aware of this fact that like, maybe the characters needed to be developed more. I'm not really sure. Now, they did get some big ticket actors. Luke Wilson plays a very large role in this, but his character never grows. He's the exact same dopey gee shucks guy at the beginning of episode 1 that he is in the finale of the final episode, which there were 8 episodes, by the way. He's the same guy. He never changes. He goes through a lot of crap. They all go through a lot of crap. As I mentioned, there are main characters that die. I'm not going to name which ones. There are major deaths in the show. There are major events that really should fundamentally shatter the universe, and everybody just smiles and nods and see you next week. and it just doesn't really feel right. That's why I feel like this show transferring over to CW, giving it a longer run, we're going to need that filler material. It sure would be nice to talk to, well, not that I talk to them, it'd be nice for the characters to talk to each other, to kind of, you know, process what's going on, because it's pretty heavy. The show does do this very weird kind of overarching evil plot that does really impact a lot of characters, but it's only a select few people that really ever seem to talk about it. Like, hey, the world's ending. All right, see you tomorrow at school. It just doesn't really seem to synergize. And I mean, if there really was this crisis, you would think that people would have kind of their day jobs would really also kind of fight the crime in that sense. You know, you could say that Arrow, which I know, Jim, geez, talking about Arrow again. Yes, I'm talking about Arrow again. You know, Oliver's day job was ultimately a mayor, which is pretty corny. But, you know, he was the mayor, right? He was making policies and doing things in place to try to prevent the terrorism that he fought at night. Here, Stargirl's fighting evil at night and then going to school during the day. It just doesn't quite pan out. So I think that takes a major hit holistically. Now, if you want to look past that and say, is it cheap, stupid fun? Absolutely it is. There's a very colorful cast of characters, and you're going to laugh at their costumes because they suck. All of their costumes suck. They are so bad. This is probably the worst costume design for any character I've ever seen. The guys that got the bag on his head. I will say, only because I think he's really cool and he reminds me of Casey Jones, the Sportsmaster is a badass, and he's creepy as hell in this. He looks very, very weird. His wife, she's a nut job. They don't get enough screen time. I would love to see a side story of what these two villains are up to, taking people out because they're nuts, and they're really cool. Outside of them, the rest of the characters are very one-dimensional, not only in their appearance, but in their abilities. And I kept thinking, like, okay, clearly, like episode 3 or 4, they're going to get better costumes. They don't. This is what you're stuck with. And they're just very, very artificial and fake looking. Doesn't really explain kind of why they're using the costumes they are, other than the other guys had them and they just magically happen to fit. They don't have any fit or form or function, anything like that. They don't even try to make any story plots. It's not like Cisco does in The Flash. It's like, hey, I upgraded your suit because I've got this space age polymer that's gonna... No, none of that. This is like, hey, we found some old, like, stupid looking goggles in this vault. Do you want them? Okay, I'm a superhero. And they just don't fit. I would relate it to Batwoman, the first couple episodes where she still wore the cowl, where her head was like this damn wide. It really reminded me of that. Costume design, absolutely atrocious across the board. The fight sequences are really good when they happen. There are a couple episodes where there's no fighting, none at all. It's just this kind of plot development. And as much as I wanted to see more of these characters not be one-dimensional, unfortunately, they remain one-dimensional. There are some really cheesy villains. There are some really cheesy heroes, like like the Titan guy, where he can like flip over this pendant on his chest that makes him basically invincible for an hour. Despite that, and there is a really cool story behind kind of how that came to be and how he uses it in his adventure was really cool. Despite that, every time he puts it on, he basically gets swatted by like a much bigger person than him. He's like, and he's not in the show for the rest of the episode. And then magically he reappears. It's bizarre. The payoff isn't quite there, and you're probably thinking, geez, Jim, I'm almost 9 minutes into this video, and what is redeeming about it? Well, it's lighthearted fun. Stargirl's weapon in particular is really, really cool. It's this kind of self-aware staff, and when it is used in combat effectively in the show, it's one of the coolest things I've ever seen. Now, you think of like Wolverine, or you think of like Cyclops, they have very, very distinct weapons, right? Stargirl uses this staff. Think of like Timmy and Lassie. So she'll be just in her room chilling, and the staff will knock on her window, and she's like, "What is it, Staffy?" And he's like, "Burr, burr, 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 burr." And she's like, "Oh, really? Let's go save the day." And she flies off and goes and fights. It really is that corny. But when she fights with the staff, it's awesome because she doesn't have any powers. She's just a person. And the staff will like throw her into combat, or she'll grab onto it like a gymnast, and it'll twirl really fast, and it'll let her kick enemies, or automatically, like, you could just tell she's holding her arms and the staff's like fighting for her, and it's throwing her around, and the actress does a phenomenal job of not being in control with the staff. There's a really cool sequence where she's about to fall down and the staff like gets behind her and like lifts her head up. So like she's falling, and then the staff lifts her back up and like whips around her waist and starts hitting people, and she's grabbing it. It's really, really cool when they pull it off. And some of those fight sequences are awesome. There are some really cool moments in here that I'm like, wow, this is really like amazing, like Marvel Cinematic level combat sequences. At least to me, I thought they were really, really good. Unfortunately, towards the end, and here we go, back to the negatives. Towards the end, we have these sequences where everybody's like getting ready to run into combat, and they run at each other and it fades to black. Kind of like the opening of the X-Men cartoon, right? Where they're all running at each other, da, 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 and then it just fades to black. It does this all the time, and I'm like, no, you have to show it. You have to show us the fighting. We see a lot of aftermath, and there's not a lot of major villains to fight. Once they kind of start getting, taken care of, so to speak, it'll make sense a little bit more when you watch it, but I don't know. Ultimately, like I said, though, I think it's worth a watch. It's 8 episodes. Put it on the background. Have it as like kind of second screen entertainment. I hope it comes back. I hope they continue, because there's definitely some really cool characters here. There's definitely a lot of really cool plot twists at the end, especially in the last 2 episodes. Major deaths, as I mentioned, major kind of reveals. I would love to see what happens next, now that we're kind of out of the shadow of itself. And by that, I mean this. All these villains and all these heroes fought a long time ago. A lot of them died magically, and this is like the next generation. For whatever reason, they all moved to the exact same town, so you're all fighting in this little tiny town in the middle of nowhere, which is kind of funny. But now that we've resolved the problem, let's think outside the box. Let's put our heroes, let's give them more personalities because they're cool. Let's see how this impacts them. Kind of like what they did in Avengers. You saw kind of Tony Stark having these problems, kind of processing all the stuff that he saw. Let's have these characters go through something like that. Let's bump it up from like PG to like PG-13. Let's get some of those darker themes in there a little bit. And it doesn't have to be doom and gloom. I'm not talking Arrow season 1 or 2. I'm talking more just like, let's have some more heft to our characters. And I think the show is going to have a lot more success because of that. I hope you guys enjoyed this spoiler-free review of DC Stargirl. Leave a comment below. Do yourself a favor. Comment, rate, and subscribe. Brent puts out amazing content. Give the guy some love because I sure do. And until next time, I will see you guys in the funny pages.